Welcome to the Master of the NEC podcast, the ultimate destination for anyone passionate about the electrical trade. Whether you're a seasoned electrician, an eager apprentice, or just someone who wants to dive deep into the world of electrical work, you've come to the right place. Join your host, Paul Abernathy, a true authority in the industry with over 38 years of trade experience, as he electrifies your mind with in-depth discussions, expert tips, and valuable insights that will keep you ahead of the curve. Each episode, Paul will illuminate the complexities of the trade, decode the National Electrical Code, and share the latest industry trends, all while empowering you to take your electrical career to the next level. So, gear up, plug in, and get ready to supercharge your knowledge, because with the Master of the NEC podcast, the power is in your hands. Now get ready. Here is your host, Paul Abernathy.
Howdy, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Master the NEC. My name is Paul Abernathy. I am your host. Thanks for joining me here on the podcast. We've been doing podcasts now for, well over a decade. And we've amassed over 1,000 episodes, whether it's our Let's Ask Paul or Master the NEC podcast. All of them are available over on your favorite listening platform, whether you like Spotify, Spreaker, Deezer, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Podbean, whatever it is that you like to listen to. I listen to most of my podcasts on Spotify, and I know a lot of people listen to our podcasts using our mobile app, which is free. All you got to do is just go to our website, fasttracksystem.com, and that's FASTTRAXSYSTEM.com. And if you go over there, you click on the menu and you will see under the info tab, you will see the link to the mobile app. If you get the mobile app, you put it on your phone. We're not going to put garbage on your phone. It's just a quick link to a web-based app. But the neat thing about it is it gives you instant access to Coffee Hour, to Fast Tracks Tube, to blogs, to our calculators, to a bunch of great stuff on there. And it never tries to push any sales down your throat. There's no ads, that kind of crap. We don't do any of that stuff. So it's really a resource that people use, and we literally have thousands of people that are using the app, and we appreciate it. Again, we don't make anything on it. We're not trying to sell any space on it. It's just our way of reaching out and be able to give good resources to our followers, people that like our podcast, like our training products, and want to learn more about the National Electrical Code. That's it. We don't teach other things. I don't teach building codes. I don't teach fire codes. I teach the National Electrical Code, okay, NFPA 70. That's what I specialize in, okay? So if you're interested in that kind of thing, check it out. We'd appreciate it. And if you decide to purchase something, we appreciate it. We have engraved products on our website. We have Fast Tracks 2, which is an annual subscription. We have our courses, obviously, over on our website. So again, we appreciate any patronage you can give. It helps keep us going, helps us do the things we do, and to be able to bring you podcasts like today's podcast. So again, we appreciate you. On today's episode, it's not going to be a real long episode, but it might be an inspiring episode, because despite what you hear, me talk about how the next couple of years it's going to be very booming for our trade, and it is. It does not remove the fact that there are folks that will struggle, that are trying to get from point A to point B in their career, and it is tough. And so I acknowledge that. And so I have to always stay on the positive about moving forward, growing your business, taking an opportunity, continuing to learn and educate yourself, and things like that, understanding that there's an underbelly of the fact that, it's just a fact. Some people struggle. It's not any one person's fault. We're not in a bad economy. We're not in a situation where there's massive unemployment. It just happens depending on where you're at in the country and whatever your situation may be. And unfortunately, when you think you're at your lowest, there's somebody else that probably is at their lowest. And it just is what it is. So I try to motivate and encourage you to keep pushing forward, building your career. Your flower will blossom. You will have and reap the benefits, but there's always twists and turns in life. And so today's question that came in, or basically something that came in through our Let's Ask Paul, through over at paulabernathy.com, it's kind of one of those things where we have to address it. And there's many things that I can talk about as I read this. But I want you to think about yourself, where you came from, what hard work you put in, sacrifices that you have to make for family. And maybe it's other things in life that throw hurdles your way, and it seems like you just can't overcome them, and it kind of buries you under this burden. All those type of things obviously can be overcome, but it's not easy. Okay. And nobody ever said it was easy, right? So I kind of want to read this email, and I'll give my insight as we go. But this came from a viewer, a follower who follows us religiously. And, I feel compelled to use this as a mission, right? People have calls and purpose all the time. And my purpose has always been to help people understand the NEC better, to make better electricians, to make safer homes. But at the end of the day, I want better. I love this profession. I think that we all should treat this profession as a noble profession, as electricians. I don't focus on other trades because I am an electrician. Yes, I'm an electrician in multiple states, and no, not gifted. I mean, I took the exams. I helped develop exams in other states. So I understand the National Electrical Code, but I also understand what it is to be an electrician and starting out with nothing. Me and my brother started a company with nothing, and we grew it up. He wanted to stay mom and pop, very small. I wanted to go bigger. We had disagreements at that point, and I went my separate way. He went his separate way. And I've owned multiple electrical contracting businesses through the years, some more successful than others. But at the end of the day, we go through many twists and turns in our life. And so I went from contractor to engineer to head electrical inspector to head supervisor for codes, and went to from being a electrical code expert for a major representative firm for manufacturers, NEMA, y'all know that, and moved up to be a director of the world's largest wire and cable manufacturer. I mean, we have, and I'm an electrician, just like you, and so there's twists and turns. And there can be people that can help you along the way, as long as they're not blowing smoke up your butt and they really teach you the right way or give you motivation and encouragement the right way, then you can achieve everything. You can achieve everything that you want to achieve. I'm just saying. So let me kind of get into this here. I'll read it, and I'm going to keep the purity of the submission. I'm protect any names, but at the end of the day, I'm keeping the purity of the submission because I think it's a submission that is deep. It's coming from a deepness of worry, angst, and opportunity, yet still an element of depression. And what is tomorrow going to bring? And I think you all might have felt that before at some point in your career. So I'm going to read this. It says, "Hello, Mr. Paul. I come to you for your most humble advice. My wife and myself are losing our house. My landlord died, and the cost of rent in this poor blank town is cresting $1,000 a month for the average home. It has doubled since the pandemic. My dad died 5 months ago, and my mom wants us to move in and help her. I stay in blank state and got to move back to nowhere blank state. Okay. So it's moving from point A to point B. And basically, it's where he's moving, it's basically nowhere. Out in the middle of the boonies. It's probably hard to find work. It's just going from A to B, but not doing it because they want to, because they feel they have to. Now, it says, I stay in blank state and I got to move back to nowhere blank state. I've been so devastated by the news. I'm not one to let depression bother me, but I had a rough time the last 10 days. I've already pulled my big girl panties up and gotten over it. So I called Inspector from back home to ask a few questions about a job. Him and my dad were best friends for 40 years. I didn't know till yesterday he was an inspector. So it's so rural. He covers 2 counties. I was telling him I would love to inspect someday. He said, really? He said, I've been waiting to retire. He said he has to cut his hay at night because he is the only inspector. So it sounds like this inspector is also a farmer. He says he wants me to take ICC tests and take over inspections when he retires. I'm going to start doing ride-alongs and give it a shot. I was wanting your opinion on that. Okay, well, I can give you my opinion. And then he goes on to say, and the most important question is this, but let me give my opinion on this first about transitioning into inspection. Do not let anybody ever tell you that an electrician who ends up becoming an inspector is doing inspections because they can't do electrical anymore or that they weren't any good at it. That's so full of shit. That's the young cocky brat out there who probably doesn't even know a single article in the National Electrical Code anyway, but they know how to turn some wrenches and pull some cable, and they start talking a bunch of crap. And then they'll go social media in it or whatever. They don't know what they're talking about. And since when do we listen to the advice from these young punks? Okay, since when do we do that? We don't. So we don't listen to what people say. I know some amazing inspectors who were electricians and they became inspectors. I've got one that I can tell you right now. He is, I can tell you, y'all know who it is. Y'all have heard it before. Jeff. Jeff Harris is a friend of mine, very dear friend of mine. He works with me, but Jeff worked for me when I was at the city of Richmond. And I remember when we hired Jeff, he was an electrical contractor. And Jeff came in for an interview. And the funny part about that, not so funny, was Jeff didn't even get the job originally. It was another guy who came to work, and I took him out into the field for a day and a half, and he ended up dropping dead. Now, I took a lot of ribbon from people because I was tough. I moved. We went from job to job. I expected inspectors to do a certain number of jobs a day. I mean, I was constantly moving. I noticed he was having trouble, and I said, dude, are you okay? Because my thought was, if you can't do the job, then we need to hire somebody else. But we hired him. And not Jeff. This is the first guy. And ultimately, he ended up dying. And one of the supervisors who, I was his supervisor, but he was a supervisor over the inspections, didn't know why he didn't come in the next day. After the day he went out with me and I, ran him through the inspections and from job to job to job. We went to about maybe 10 inspections that day. Anyway, the supervisor, his immediate supervisor, called his wife and says, where's he at? This is only his second day of work. That's not how we do things here. And she told him that he passed away that night. And, it was awful because for the longest time, it was like Paul took out an inspector and the damn inspector died. And it was like, really? He had underlying health conditions and I could kind of tell. That's why I told him, you want to take a break? You want to break? You want to slow down? And he's like, no, I'm good. I just thought he was, there's a lot of movement when you're an inspector, a lot of moving around, a lot of walking, a lot of looking. And so he passed away and we still had to fill the position. So the next person in line was Jeff. And, Jeff, applied for the job, and we did the interview. Jeff was selected, and he came to me, and he didn't even know me for Adam. I didn't know him. And I knew he was a contractor. We knew all that. But one of the first things that I said to Jeff was that when you become an inspector, you have to turn that hat around. Like in that movie Over the Top, where Sylvester Stallone turns that hat around, and when he gets into this other zone, I said it's kind of like that. He'll tell you that story. He'll tell you. I remember telling him, I was like, you've got to take off your contractor hat to become an inspector. And I explained to him that things that you may have done as a contractor is, in your opinion, or over and above the minimum, or how you like to do things, whether it's right or wrong, doesn't necessarily fly as a inspector, because an inspector is not an expector. An inspector inspects what they see, not what they expect. And so if you want to go over and above the minimum, I told him, I said, that's their choice. As long as it meets the minimum standard, you green tag it and you keep moving. Okay? Don't impose your own will, things like that. And so that's how he did it. And he became an amazing inspector. In fact, so amazing that when I retired or left to go somewhere else, I was able to put him in my position and fill my shoes at the jurisdiction when I left to another jurisdiction, because of that confidence in him and being able to, and he's older than me, but age is just the thing. Mentorship doesn't matter as long as a person's put in a right position to be a mentor. Okay. And so he ended up shining and ultimately retired in that position, but did an amazing job. But not all people that become inspectors were electricians. And so that's probably one big problem I have with it is we have to understand that if you're a floor sander and you want to be an electrical inspector, then you need to raise your game. You need to take the exams. You need to take the testing. You need to get the knowledge that you need to be efficient, and don't make things up. Okay. Now, again, for the gentleman that's listening to this story, his story, the reason I'm saying all this is to make it very clear that being an electrical inspector is a great career opportunity today. It is a different branch in the electrical, if you are an electrician, that you can go into, and do not listen to anybody say, well, those that inspect can't do, because they're morons. They literally are morons. If you're listening out there and you think that, you're a moron. That is not the case. Not all electrical inspectors are created equal. We get that. But they can be taught. And we can teach inspectors to look for the basic, bare minimum code. And that's what we're looking for in municipalities. I don't want inspectors who go rogue, okay? Start making up stuff. That's not the name of the game, okay? So, yes, my advice to you first is do those ride-alongs. Give it a shot. That's my opinion. My opinion is based on what you've said. I definitely want you to give it a shot. I definitely do. Now, it says, and the most important question is, I found out that to get my contractor license, I can only do work by what I can show I'm worth. And I was so let down. Now, I don't understand that part, except for the fact that I know, for example, when it comes to different levels of contracting, and I can only use my examples in the states that I am, is that in Texas, it isn't really like that. In Texas, for example, you're electrical contractor. In Virginia, for example, there's different classes, Class A, Class B, Class C, and it all really has to do with the projects you can do. But the thing about it was it's based on the project's, each individual project's cost, okay? That type of thing to determine whether or not, if you're going to do multi-million-dollar projects, you're a Class A contractor, okay? If you're going to do mid-size, Class B, and if you're going to do smaller stuff, and I can't remember the numbers now, like a project that's $7,500 and less per project, or it's probably way more than that. But at the end of the day, it's broken down that way. Now, to become a contractor, it depends on the class that you want to be, and you have to have more assets, right? And so Class A contractors, they want to know what your assets, what you own, get basically what you're worth, and it goes down to that. So there's different tiers. I can't imagine and I don't know the details, but I can't imagine in a state that they expect you to have a net worth of a certain point before you can actually become a contractor. I find that hard to believe, so I'm not doubting you. I'm just saying there's got to be way more details than that, because there is a lot of smaller contractors, smaller mom and pops that would not be able to show any kind of net worth like that in order to be able to get in business. We all have to start somewhere. So I don't know that all the details on that, but I would look more into that if you want to be a contractor. Now, with that said, if I was moving to an area and I could learn inspections, I would do that while I'm also trying to find work as an electrician for a company and try to do both of them. I say this all the time. Early on, you have to be hungry. I'll give you another analogy. So my son is working on he likes the pool business. So he likes to work with swimming pools, and someday hopes to own his own swimming pool installation company, and those type of things. And he's been doing the pool maintenance stuff for years too, but now they're more into pool design and things like that. And I wish him the best of luck. But the point is, he's not making the best money, but he's putting his nose down and trying to learn all the little things. And sometimes you do have to sacrifice. It's a little harder for this gentleman because he has a family he has to take care of. I mean, literally, this makes it harder, and those type of things. So I get it, and you're going to be doing all that you can do to try to get, to be able to support your family. I understand, but I most certainly think that you keep your course, get what keep your course of action. Try to see, talk in more detail to the people. Don't listen to what anybody else says. Go talk to people, talk to the state, visit and look and see, because I just think that that's not the whole picture here for that. But definitely continue, dabbling in the inspection thing. Next, it says, I was so let down. It says, if I pass the exam but not able to apply for my license because I'm poor and can do up to $25,000 with my journeyman's license now. If I pass the test, am I a master in name? I don't know the testing, and I really don't know the context of the question. If you take a master license exam and you pass it, you're a master electrician. If you take a journeyman, you're a journeyman electrician. If you're a contractor, typically in most states, and not all states, most states that I'm associated with, again, not all, that if they don't have a master license, then they have a contractor's license. In Virginia, they have journeyman, they have master, and then they have electrical contractor, but you have to be a master electrician to be able to be a contractor in this state. In Texas, for example, they have journeyman, and they have about 8 different licenses in Texas, but you can be a master electrician and be the designated agent for somebody that owns an electrical contracting business that's not even an electrician. They own the business, but as long as you're the dedicated assigned master electrician on record, then they can own an electrical contracting business and not know a damn thing about electrical. That's just the way it works in that state. So every state's different. I don't know enough about the state you're going to, but if you're going to have to go back anyway, take a little time and be patient. Don't knee-jerk it. Look and see all the information to verify, because you might be surprised that there is different classes of license in it. It's probably not per job. It's probably not per year. It's per job. So, for example, in Virginia, you can do there's a cap on the project, but it doesn't mean you can't have 50 projects going. And each one of them at the max, it just means that you're going to watch what type of jobs you bid and those type of things. And so until you, at some point, you will amass the requirements in order to be able to step up in your licensing, whether it's another class of license that's higher that allows you to even bid bigger jobs. Baby steps, you'll get there, that type of thing. So that's something to think of. Now, as far as master, to be a master, you have to pass a test for the master license to call yourself a master electrician. If you don't have a master's license in your state, and all they have is, let's say, like Ohio, where they have a contractor's license, then you could say you're a master equivalent, but it doesn't matter because you're an electrical contractor. And if you have that license, you can do the work. So it really is just a name in that sense. It goes on to say, if I can't afford to show much net worth, I'm going to do it even just self-satisfaction. Absolutely. Because things can change. Don't assume that it's the end of the road for anything. I mean, we don't abruptly stop our learning process. You just keep going because you just don't know what tomorrow will bring. And, you know, I tell people this all the time is if you keep making excuses and going forward, that you're going to look back and you're going to look back 4 years ago, 5 years ago, 3 years ago, and you're going to be in a situation where you're going to get opportunity. And you're going to look at it and go, Jesus, if I had just done this when I said I was going to do it, now you'd be poised to take advantage of an opportunity. So I tell people, never not think that you've got opportunity just down the road around the corner, okay? Because the world is round, folks. It's not flat. There's always something that's going to be over the horizon. And as you approach it, you want to have that opportunity. So I tell people constantly, I even tell people that are struggling, I say, look, even if you're struggling, if you can find a way to further yourself and get some more education. Like our company, for example, we give away stuff on our coffee hour. We give away drawings for courses, training courses, and you know that we don't get paid for. But if they'll enrich somebody and help them learn something, and if they can ultimately make money with it, I'm just tickled to death because I'm encouraging them, I'm enriching them, and they're taking advantage of opportunity. Keep pressing forward. Never give up on yourself. Never. The best investment that you can ever make is in yourself. Okay? And depression is a place that once you're there are people out there that will continually try to keep you there. They will kick you when you're down. And you just have to block that negativity out. You need to get rid of those people. Those are people that are cancers in your life. I used to say that with business when you had that one person or one or two people that just tear your company apart, say nasty things about your company when they're out, and even say things to customers. That's the kind of thing that you need to weed out of your company. If I had advice, and I used to speak a lot to larger companies, if I had advice and I talked to a company and I was talking to all their staff and everybody, and I'd look at them and say, look, if you have an opportunity to say something about the company and the only thing that can come out of your mouth is something negative, I need you to get your shit and get out right now. And if you're too shy to say it, when something like that does happen and I hear about it, I'm going to grab your shit and kick you out. There's no place for it. No place for it. I tell people this all the time. I have worked for NEMA. I have no problem with NEMA. I have problem with some policies. But at the end of the day, NEMA was good to me. The General was good to me. NEMA was good to me. Encore Wire was amazing to me. I wouldn't be in a lot of positions I'm in today without the help of NEMA and without the help of Encore Wire and Prismium's continuing that. I have nothing bad to say about the municipalities I worked for. You might not like some of the individuals, but as far as the body itself, I mean, City of Alexandria, it was great to me. I don't have they paid my salary. I didn't have to worry about getting paid. I had good insurance. City of Richmond, same way. I might not like certain things of the administration, but that's governmental things. Those are constantly revolving. People are changing, new mayors, new city managers, everything evolves. But currently, when you're at least working for the company, I mean, you can't control what somebody says after they leave, especially if they were treated badly. But if you're working for a company, you're actively working in a company, and you go out and say bad things, yet you're taking a paycheck from that company, that's not good. And if you have an employee like that, get rid of them. It's not worth it. They're a cancer to your company. Absolutely they are. So anyway, I encourage you to do it for yourself. He says, it seems like if you want to be a contractor, you need assets. Again, I think it depends on what level of contracting that you want to be at. Okay, whether or not you're at the lowest class that has a cap on how much work you can do, or you want to just be a contractor and go after everything, and you probably can't do that anyway because you have to have a certain level of equipment. So you're going to start small anyway. So I do have a hard time believing that they set the cap so high that you have to have a certain number of assets just to get in to it. I find that hard to believe, but again, I'm just going by what was given to me. Because it says here that you can do work up to $25,000 with your journeyman's license. Now, something's not jiving with that. I don't understand it. But at the end of the day, I'm going to encourage you to definitely look at inspections. Definitely look at it. Dip your toe in there. See if it's what you want to do. That type of scenario. One thing to remember, though, is a lot of times in those rural communities, they want you to do plumbing, mechanical, building, and electrical, and it may not be within your skill set. So there is going to be a learning curve, and but there are lots of training that you can do. When he says get your certifications, it's going to be hard for somebody just to go take an ICC test, for example, in plumbing, mechanical, building. And I've had these licenses, or I should say certifications, in all of those. I've had my plumbing, mechanical, my building, electrical commercial, residential, plan review, all those type of things. And at the end of the day, I had a little bit of background in those type of trades. So all trades, a little bit of dabbled here and there. So but I had to study for the mechanical. I had to study for the plumbing. I had to study for the building, all those type of things, which were outside of my comfort area because I'm an electrician. So that's my comfort area. That was easy. That was the easy ones, right? But you can do it. Dip your toe in there. Keep your head up. Get out of that depression. Okay? I mean, if you think about it, it's nothing more beautiful than to wake up and see your family and wake up and see the sunrise. Depression is a place that nobody should go to. And if you're there, you need to be lifted out of it. You need somebody that can reach in there, grab you, raise you up out of it, and say, you know what, you're worth it. You're worth everything to society. You're worth to your family. You can make it. And you have to keep pushing forward and realize that tomorrow can be different than today. That type of thing. So he says, my goal isn't contracting. I want to educate. Thank you, Paul. Okay. Well, education comes with experience. Put in that experience. Keep dedicating to it. And take opportunities that present your way. One of the things about it is if you learn the other inspection trades, it just broadens your knowledge base. It just makes you more valuable. Okay. And then you have other opportunities. You could go into home inspections. They do very well. You can go into third-party inspections. Okay. There's many opportunities. You just need to seize them and seize the opportunity. And I pray for your family. I pray for your situation. Sorry to hear about your father. One of the toughest times was losing my father. And I was actually teaching a seminar when I lost my dad. And I had just finished teaching an online seminar when my mom passed away. So, it seems like I'm always doing electrical, and I don't stop and smell the roses either. I am so blessed that I have a wife that has been by my side for nearly 40 years and supported me in everything that I do, good or bad. Whether it was a dumb idea or a smart idea, she was always there for the ride. And we need it. We need partners. We need people, brothers, family, and all those type of things. We just don't know what tomorrow's going to bring. So we seize the day. And I'm wishing you the best of luck and prayers for the family, and you'll get there. Just stay focused. Remember, good things come to those who participate, and that means participate in life. All right? All right, folks, till next time, stay safe. God bless, and I will catch you on another episode of, and I'm not sure where my thing is, sorry, another episode of Master the NEC Podcast. Till next time, stay safe. God bless.
Thanks for tuning into another electrifying episode of the Master the NEC Podcast. We hope you're feeling more powered up and ready to tackle the electrical world with the knowledge and confidence you need to succeed. Remember, in the electrical trade, knowledge is power, and we're here to make sure you stay plugged into the latest insights, tips, and code updates. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to subscribe, leave us a review, and share the podcast with your fellow electricians and industry pros. Until next time, keep your tools sharp, your circuits clear, and your mind focused, because here at the Master the NEC Podcast, we're all about sparking your success. Stay safe, stay smart, and keep mastering the trade. From all of us here at Electrical Code Academy, thank you for all your support, and we will see you on the next amazing Master the NEC Podcast episode.